Hello everyone, it is time for week 4 of the PAC League for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Now my opponent in this match is going to be against Fort Waluigi, who I believe is a commissioner of a draft league. I forgot what the league was called again though, but yeah, so we're going to be running him. I think he represents the Oregon State Bidoofs team, so yeah. I actually, this is another brand new opponent, but this is one that I kind of got familiar with because I was trying to do a league of his, but it didn't really come to fruition. So we're actually, interestingly enough, encountering each other here, which is kind of interesting, honestly. But anyways, here you guys can actually see for the first time ever what my team consists of, because you know, I'm actually showing you guys my PC for once. I actually almost never do this, actually, just because I'm too lazy to actually like show everybody what I have. So I'm just like, eh. But now I'm just like, you know what, I don't care. Just show it what I have here. There you can see the moves and all that good stuff. Although you get to see all this stuff like during the matches. I think what you don't get to see is the stats on my Pokemon, basically. Because yeah, like I said, I'm not really that much of a nerd. I'm not really like into showing like stats and whatnot and explaining what their purpose is. Like, that's not my thing, honestly. I'm just here to showcase Wi-Fi matches and go over how terrible or awesome they can be, because I either win them or lose them, you know. You get to see both sides, which is probably the interesting thing about my matches particularly, anyway. But anyways, so here's my opponent's team, and it is scary. It looks ferocious, in fact. Has a Latios, has a Blastoise, and Raichu. Raichu's probably the weakest on this team, but it can do stuff, honestly. It's not to say that he can't do anything. It can definitely do stuff. It could be a pivoter for all we know. Entei is a powerhouse as well, and Staraptor's a powerhouse, pretty fast, typically scarfed. The Golem can be bulky and offensive, and or if it's, you know, like speed invested, it could have like the rock polish with some, you know, rock moves and stuff like that. Like, anything can happen with this guy, actually. So his draft is actually definitely good. So we just gotta see what we can do. I honestly wasn't even sure if I could beat this guy or not, honestly. But, you know, we always try our best in these matches. So here we go. He's gonna lead off with the Blastoise. And I led off with Mew. Particularly because what I wanted to do was set up the Stealth Rocks right here. And seeing how he led with the Blastoise kind of told me that he might just want to actually Rapid Spin every time I set up the rocks. So I was just like, So I was just like, okay, let's see if he does go for Rapid Spin here, predicting the rocks. From the looks of it, he does something even more scarier, which is actually go for a Shell Smash, which, I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot Blastoise can learn this shit, honestly. So I was just like, oh my god. Thank goodness I put Volt Switch on this Mew, because I was actually going to give this thing U-turn initially. But I decided Volt Switch just because I felt like if that Blastoise was going to come into Rapid Spin all day, I could just punish it by going for Volt Switch and giving it some decent damage. So thankfully he doesn't have Hydro Pump on this Blastoise, because he goes for Scald instead. I think Hydro Pump would still not have been enough to take out my Mew, but it would have left me at red still, so making it less useful in the match in the long run. But yeah, so Scald, I get the hell out of there with Volt Switch. I think here I decided to go into Dusknoir, because what I want to do immediately, now that I got the slow switch in here, is go for the Trick Room. I should be able to take a Scald. If Mew could take it, then Dusknoir should definitely be able to take it. He also has a Yapapa Berry for some reason. I guess so that if I take him down to the red, he can get his HP back, but obviously I'm not going to waste my time trying to care about that. I just want to get the Trick Room so that my team can get some stuff done here, honestly. Gonna go for the Scald. I kind of don't really care what happens to this Dusknoir. Even if he gets the burn, it's whatever, just because I just want to get this Trick Room up. If this goes down, the only thing I need to do really is just send in the Glaceon and like put in some work with that, honestly. So here we go. Now here, I actually do go for the Shadow Sneak as opposed to the Brick Break, which I think I should have, honestly. Also, for some reason, I don't know why I ended up clicking Run Away. Imagine if I actually ran away after that. That shit would have been so pathetic on my end. But anyways, yeah. I go for Shadow Sneak, not Brick Break for some reason. I guess, I don't know why, honestly, because I am in Trick Room. I could have outsped this thing. And believe it or not, I think Brick Break does do more damage than Shadow Sneak, given that, you know, Shadow Sneak, 40 base power. Stab would only make it 60 base power. So, whereas, you know, Brick Break, not Stab, but has 75 base power overall, so I think it could have done a lot more damage if I went for it, but I didn't go for it, so that was probably a mistake, especially considering the Yapapa Berry procced as soon as I got it to red, so could have been, you know, in a less recoverable state, but I guess it doesn't really matter that much anyways, because this Glaceon is going to actually come in and go for the Freeze Dry. And let me be honest with you, I think this is the first time I ever used Glaceon in a Pokemon Wi-Fi match. I don't think I've ever used Glaceon in a Pokemon Wi-Fi match. Like, I've actually used it in, like, casually during playthroughs in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and maybe even Platinum when I'm not using the Cyrus team. But I've never used it in a competitive Wi-Fi match, so this is the first time I actually get to do it, and not to mention showcase it, because I definitely wasn't a content creator back in the days. I was just a spectator at the time. But now, here it is. And Glaceon was one of my favorite Pokemon at the time. It was one of my favorite evolutions until Sylveon came along, you know? But yeah. So anyways, he brings in this Golem, and obviously, thankfully, it takes out the Golem, because, you know, I got the rocks up, so Sturdy's broken. And it survived the Rock Slide. If it was Stone Edge, I probably would have lost this Glaceon. It took out both this and the what's it called, the Blastoise with Freeze Dry, which basically is a good thing, because Freeze Dry, you know, it takes down Water type Pokemon as well. And it definitely came in handy for the Blastoise, because otherwise I probably would not have had much to take that thing out, honestly. Okay, so after taking out 2 of his Mons, he's now gonna finally bring the Entei. This was kind of what I was initially expecting, but I guess he thought he could take me out with the Golem, which turns out he couldn't. I was honestly surprised he'd outsped me, but it was actually because Trick Room was still up, obviously. And this thing was probably invested with no speed investment whatsoever, so that it can outspeed my whatever slow mon I may have, I guess, in Trick Room. But yeah, so here I'm going to hard switch into Pelipper, because I feel like maybe, just maybe, Glaceon can still be useful for something. I'm still not sure what, honestly, but I just wanted to preserve it in case I didn't need to sack it and whatnot. Here I get send in Pelipper, get the Rain up, and here I try to go for the U-turn, but this guy does actually have the Stone Edge. I was actually kind of hoping he wouldn't have Stone Edge, but he did, and not only does this, you know, get a crit, but it does take me out entirely. I don't know if that crit mattered, honestly. I think it might have actually, I would have still, like, probably gone down even without the crit, but I don't know. Either way, I do lose Pelipper, and now I have to decide what I want to send in. I think here, I actually was considering Drapion to go for the knockoff to see what item it had, but I kind of didn't feel like it was a good idea, because I didn't want to get Drapion, like, to take any sort of unnecessary damage. So I just decided to go into Mew instead, I think, and just go for Psychic. Plus, I wanted to see how much damage I could do. Sending in Garchomp was also there, but again, I could go for Dragon Claw, and then he can go for, I don't know, the Sacred Fire, maybe. Like, well, it is in the rain, obviously. I mean, that thing, I think, Sacred Fire, I think, has, like, a very decent chance of burning my Garchomp, which I definitely didn't want, so I decided to just go into Mew, just to go for a Psychic, just to get some damage. Also see what other moves this guy might have. He does reveal the Crunch, which is something I was kind of also, like, thinking, could he have it? He does. So I go for the Roost just to see, like, you know, just to scout if I can actually take this well or not, and unfortunately I cannot, so I just decided, you know what, just go for the Psychic, obviously. We're gonna see how much we can do. I think regardless of how much this does to Entei, I think I should be able to take it out with a Dragon Claw on Garchomp. And from the looks of it, this does, yeah, it does a fair amount of damage. This is definitely in Garchomp Dragon Claw range, so I think if it was still like at half or something, that would have probably been problematic, and I would have probably been tempted to go for Earthquake instead. Going for the right move with Garchomp is important, because once again it's Choice Scarf, so if I lock myself into something, it had to be a move that is not like either resisted or immune by other Pokemon. So, and Earthquake definitely is like a move that has, I think, some resistances from my opponent's side, you know. But either way, he's gonna go for the E-Speed right here, take out my Mew, which is fine. Now I'm just gonna send in the Garchomp. Oh yeah, the reason why Earthquake was scary to go for with Garchomp here was because Latios immune to it, and so is Staraptor, so like there was literally no point in going for Earthquake whatsoever. I just needed to make sure this Entei was weakened enough for me to finish it off with a Dragon Claw. And whatever was left on his team was probably most likely going to go down to Dragon Claw, because I don't think the Raichu would actually go would survive a Dragon Claw from Garchomp, and much less Latios, who's super effective and whatnot. He goes for an E-Speed here as a last ditch effort to get some damage on my Garchomp, which is fine with me because I feel like everything else, I feel like effectively here I could actually just sweep this guy actually. So basically that's what I'm going for right here. He goes out into this Staraptor, which I was thinking, is this gonna have Intimidate? But as you can see, it does not have Intimidate, which because of that is why I actually got flabbergasted right here when I went for Dragon Claw on this thing, and holy damn did this freaking thing survive it. And I was like, what the hell? Did I not invest any attack investment on this Garchomp? I know on Showdown I definitely had it that way, but I don't know if it came out that way when I actually brought this mon into the game. Which, if that was the case, then holy damn. But the fact that this thing survived it was actually shocking to me. It kind of made me wonder if he actually invested this thing in defense, just to be able to take the hit and then hit me with a Brave Bird. Which, yeah, thankfully he I survived the Brave Bird, and then he just went down to Recoil plus Rough Skin. He's gonna send out the Latias, which again, yeah, he could be threatening the Scarf, but obviously if I lose this Garchomp now, it's like I lose it obviously. So I just stay in, and the bluff didn't work for him, and he just ends up going down with his Latios. So his last Pokemon, I believe, is now going to be the Raichu. So the Raichu, oh my goodness. The Raichu should just go down to another Dragon Claw, you know? Because Raichu is like one of the frailest mons physically, honestly. After rocks, like, how can it possibly survive? Well, in the world of Pokemon, I guess a lot of the stuff that happens in the anime happens in the freaking game as well, because for some bizarre reason, this Raichu also survives this Dragon Claw. Like, I have to wonder if my Garchomp had any, like, if it was max invested or if the IVs were 0 or some shit, but the fact that it did not KO was just like, what the hell? How is it surviving? Even Entei, well, Entei was kind of weakened now, but still, that was still shocking, honestly. I lost Garchomp, and yeah, I was just like, holy damn. Thankfully, I just needed to go for Drapion and just go for the knockoff here. So just to finish this thing off and not having to deal with any more shenanigans from these frail-ass mons surviving hits and whatnot. Here, he's going to go for the Thunderbolt. Does get lucky by getting the Para-Hacks, but you know what? I predict the hacks here and just had a Lumberry in case this happened, honestly. So there you go. I beat this Raichu, and I win this match 2-0. So this was actually a pretty close match, actually. This was actually one of those matches that I thought I could do like extremely well, but I was actually surprised at how close the match was. I could have lost this match if certain things didn't go my way. If I didn't have this Lumberry and this Drapion, if I got that Para-Hack still, I could have probably still lost this match, which is kind of crazy to think about. But obviously we still won it, so that's actually kind of good. So yeah, that's going to be the whole match, and thank you all for watching this match. Hopefully I can catch you guys for the next match in the Sword and Shield side of things, obviously. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one, of course.